Hi guys, it's Katie from String Expert. Today I want to get you started in learning how to regularly practice your instrument. In my book, A Simple Guide to Music Lessons, one of the chapters that I have is simply devoted to practicing because I think practicing is so key to anyone's success in music. Now, there are studies that show that if a student simply takes a 30-minute lesson once a week and never practices throughout the week and just goes back and does another 30-minute lesson, they will make huge developments in terms of cognitive function, even if you're an adult learner. So I always recommend, even if you don't have time to practice, that you still take lessons and still work on playing your instrument, because from a health standpoint, it's huge. Now, to be fair, you can take lessons and you'll make some progress, but you're not going to make a huge amount of progress if you don't put in the time and the effort to make sure that you practice well. So the first thing that I would say when you get started practicing is to set yourself up in a good space that's free of distractions. You want to be able to just show up, pick up your instrument, work on what you're working on, and go back to your everyday life. If you have to constantly spend 10 or 20 minutes setting up a music stand, pulling out your instrument, that kind of a thing, then it's going to take a lot more time away from actually practicing, which is very, very important. Be careful if you have pets and leaving your instruments out, because obviously we don't want to have them be damaged, but if you don't have pets or small children in your home, I would recommend leaving your instrument out so you can just go, grab it, and play. This space should feel comfortable for you, and it's different for a lot of different students. Some students prefer lots of bright lighting and color, and some students prefer more of a quiet, subdued area. You also want to be careful not to have distractions. So for me, a huge distraction is my cell phone. I love it, especially on Snapchat and Instagram. So I try to avoid those like the plague when I'm practicing, because otherwise I would just be on those all day and not actually focus on what I'm doing. Now, it's important to develop regular practice habits, and I always get asked by students, well, how long should I practice? And that is a great question. And it is pretty instrument specific, but having said that, the average is about 30 minutes per day. But as we learned from Michael Phelps, one of the world's greatest swimmers, sometimes you need to do more than that in order to get ahead. So in his case, most of the swimmers in his group only practice 6 days a week, and he would regularly practice 7 days a week. And the reason why he did that was because it gave him a huge competitive advantage in the swimming pool. With playing a musical instrument, you also can have a huge competitive advantage if you spend more time practicing. When I was in high school, it was about 7 to 8 hours of practice a day, and now I practice on a regular basis about an hour a day, and I think that's really, really important. So the more time that you can spend practicing, the better. Another thing to think about is to work smarter, not harder as you're practicing. This is important. So you want to develop a plan in terms of where you want to go, what pieces you want to learn, what information you want to learn, and how you're going to get from point A to point B. Then it's about being focused and having measurable results. So you can look into a piece and say, okay, yesterday I was playing this way and it wasn't very good. Today I'm playing it a little bit better and getting better in terms of practicing. One thing that students always do too, to me, which is surprising, kind of odd, is the fact that a lot of students neglect the fact that they already have some great learning skills. For example, if in school you learn by bright colors and using markers and highlighting things, then take those same techniques and use them when you're trying to learn music. It's really going to help you in terms of improvement. If you learn by listening, then find tons of different recordings of the piece of music that you're trying to learn so you can really learn and understand how to play the piece well. So I hope you enjoyed learning a little bit about getting started, learning to practice well. In the next piece, we'll give you some ideas on some different ways to practice in your everyday life. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time at stringexpert.com.